finals are just around the corner. The teams are set, but the matchups aren't set just yet. It is 4 through to 6 who have to fight for their spot and fight for who their matchup will be in the finals campaign. I'm Pakil Frimpa. I'm going to take you through all the action today, but it is a big game here for the Central Coast Mariners, who currently sit in 5th on the table. They sit with 31 points. Western United and Canberra United are a point within them on either side. So each of these teams are wanting that 4th spot, which will guarantee them a home final for the elimination round. And for the Newcastle Jets, their opponents, they want to play spoilers. They don't have anything to play for in terms of finals, but it's pride on the line. These are players who care a lot and have put a lot through the season, as we see Cass Davis there, who smiles all round. Isn't that nice to see? Cass Davis, one of the most positive people we see in the competition. These guys have got the best mascots to close out the league campaign. And lots on the mind. It is the F3 Derby, maybe the best trophy in all of football. I know the men's ones is pretty cool, but this one right here, a bit of that highway that connects these two areas. It is fantastic to have the F3 Derby closing out round 23 in the A-League women's competition. And we see Bianca Galich with the captain's armband up ahead as well. All smiles. Ash Pryor, popular face for the Newcastle Jets fans, and for good reason as well. And disappointing, obviously, for Newcastle. No finals. They found that out a few weeks ago when they weren't able to get enough points. But could they play spoilers? We will have to wait and see. But for Ryan Campbell, he makes 3 changes to his starting 11. He's forced to make 2 of them with Sheridan Gallagher and Lorena Bauman unavailable. Claudia Chico is also unavailable as well. Tash Pryor comes back after not playing last week. Chloe Wallendow and Claire Adams also starts as well. And there is Tash Pryor. She didn't play last week and proved to be costly. A lot of things went wrong for the Newcastle Jets, but a lot of things go right for them when she is in defence. She's had an incredible season herself, but this will be a game where she'll be really, really important with Central Coast Mariners needing to score, wanting all 3 points. We'll see how she leads and commands this team. She's such an important leader for the Newcastle Jets team. For the Central Coast Mariners, M. Husband makes 1 change to the side that fell to Melbourne victory. Bianca Galich gets the start. Annalise Rasmussen starts alongside Jake Panic. Blaine Puxty starts on the bench this afternoon alongside the teenage superstar Tiana Fuller and Taryn King as well. And there is Izzy Gomez. She hasn't played a lot of this season, been out with injury, but when she has been playing, she's been phenomenal. It's going to be her 12th game of the league campaign. In those 11 previous games, she's got 5 goals and 2 assists to her name. She's such an important part of the Central Coast Mariners attacking front, and she'll need to be at her best this afternoon in finals as well. Ryan Campbell, it's been a disappointing campaign. Last year, Newcastle Jets were in the semi-finals. This year, they couldn't crack the finals campaign. Lots to work out for the Jets. We'll see if he's there next season. It will be important for him to finish this league campaign off in a positive way. And our referees this afternoon, Michaela Ryan, assistant referees Misuk Park, Paula Malau Aduli, and 4th official Mia Garati. And there is M. Husband, 2 years in this job and a second finals race to fight for. They made the semi-finals as well last year. They fell 2-1 to Sydney FC in that. But they would love to have a home elimination final if they could finish in 4th, and even especially avoid 6th place and have to play an in-form Adelaide United team. And M. Husband has done a tremendous job with this Central Coast Mariners team. They need to finish it off for at least 1 more round before they head to the finals. But as I mentioned, no Claudia Chico for the Newcastle Jets this afternoon, and that is because she has injured her foot in last week's game. The young superstar, she is one of the quickest players, and that's 2 players in this defence for the Newcastle Jets who's out. And Chico and Lorena Bauman as well. See if she's back next week. But joining me in the booth this afternoon is Ish Ferguson. Ish, this is a big game for the Central Coast Mariners.
Yeah, you've said it all, Picure. This is a must-win game to get themselves in the best position possible. Big question marks will be what Newcastle Jets are going to turn up. Are they going to try and finish the season strong when they've had quite a disappointing season, or are they already in holiday mode? We know they've got those players out, some key players through some disciplinary issues, but this is going to be a great game to watch. I'm expecting out-and-out attack from Central Coast Mariners.
It is going to be an important game. It's going to be an important game for the leaders, Libby Copus-Brown, Cass Davis as well. Jessica Nash, new season, new club with the Mariners. She was with Melbourne Victory last year. The move has proved to be fantastic for her, going to the Mariners, playing more at centre back where she wanted to play. And she's been pivotal for them, especially when they've struggled offensively. But we are ready to go here at Maitland's. Round 23 between these two rivals. It's good to have the Mariners back so we can have an F3 derby, isn't it, Ish?
Yeah, particularly with that incredible trophy of part of the actual freeway. I've been doing a bit of up and down of the F3, so quite familiar with it. But I think just all credit to Em Husband. We like the way she approaches the game. She's done such an incredible job with this Central Coast Mariners team. It would be great to see them in a more strong position going into the elimination finals. You know, the ultimate is to have a home elimination final. It means you don't have the travel and you've got the support of the home fans.
You get to settle yourself, and this is a game where the Mariners this season in particular have absolutely dominated. Last time these two teams played, it was a 5-1 win for the Central Coast Mariners.
You can see already, Picure, they're pushing up to 2, 4, 6 players from the Central Coast Mariners, really trying to put the Jets' defence under pressure. I think they'll want to get an early goal here to maintain the momentum in their favour.
Maybe away here, the Jets encounter, but good defensive work rate from Taylor Ray. Ray also made the move in the off-season up against Copus-Brown. A lot of pushing and shoving, and then it's the Mariners who get the free kick.
Taylor Ray did great there, and that will be where Central Coast could be a bit susceptible today on that quick transition. As soon as they're committing all those players forward into the defensive third, the attacking third for them, the defensive third for the Jets. One of those long outbreak balls into the areas, into the wide areas, could catch the Mariners out. But I think they'll still be committed to having a lot of players forward and trying to win the ball back further up the pitch.
Have to trust their defensive solidity as we try to press forward. Now this one out wide, it goes to Jade Pennick. Can they get in? Back to Pennick. This is some good play from the Mariners. Can they get it another time? They can't. It looks like the flag was actually up. But you spoke, Ish, about getting an early goal. In that fixture that they played back a couple of months ago, it was the Newcastle Jets who conceded within the opening 10 minutes. Brooke Nunn got a goal 8 minutes into this game. So they are very comfortable and very capable, the Central Coast Mariners, of getting a goal early on. Martin. Back out to Martin. She's out for a long-range effort. And then this one, not caught well by Izzy Gomez.
Well, I think that's a statement of intent. When you see Annabelle Martin, who's more of a defensive fullback, pushing into central areas, trying to win the ball back higher up the pitch. And I think as far as the Mariners are concerned, this sustained pressure in the first 5-10 minutes to try and get something from it and keep that pressure on Newcastle Jets.
Over the top. And that one will go out for a throw-in. So Rowe with the throw in. Nash. Gomez. Going to take their time, but when they do lose possession, as you mentioned, Ish, they will want to press. Galich. They're a patient team, the Mariners, aren't they, Ish?
Yeah, and I like seeing Galich come back in and try and link up the play there. Also, just to see the Newcastle Jets, they've continued to want to press high. That's been the story of their season. Unfortunately, it's left them susceptible at the back to quick transitions, quick counter-attacks where they have conceded a lot of goals. The last game of the season, they still want to commit those players forward as well.
Krasaniak didn't go very far. Rasmussen. Martin. Tried the switch out. The ball Not hitting the target. Hoban shrugs off one. Got Jackson in support. Just showed a little bit too much of the ball that time to Sarah Rowe and gave the foul away as well.
There you can already, Ryan Campbell, you know, last game of the season, still willing his team on. Wants them always, as he's saying, step out, wants to press high up the pitch to win possession back, but this is now down to, I think, both teams playing a very similar style of play in this first 5 minutes of the match.
It's an interesting season for a coach. They've had some moments, they've been really exciting, Newcastle, but they've really struggled on defensive end. But they've also struggled in terms of goals and haven't helped themselves out in particular instances. But for a coach, what is the mindset? How are you trying to figure that out?
Well, I think frustratingly, first and foremost, the disciplinary record, I think, makes it really difficult. I think they also lost Melina Ayres, Serena Bolden, two exceptional players who contributed to 30 goals combined last season. It's very difficult to replace that. Ryan also wants to play a very high-intensity pressing style of game, which again does leave you susceptible at the back for those quick transition moments. But he's stuck to that game plan, and whether it's right or wrong, that's his philosophy.
Fan it out here to Lauren Allen. Can she get a delivery into the box? Doesn't get it to fall. Ray deals with it, sends it only as far as Emma Dundas, though. Just laying that for Sarah Langman. They're a side that love to cross the football into the middle of the box in Newcastle. They don't have a lot of success with it, but it is one of their favourite things to do.
Well, just talking about the players that they've lost. They lost two wonderful target players, Serena Bolden, Melina Ayres. I know we keep going on about them, but there's one thing to have the delivery into the box. The next thing is to actually have someone on the end of it to be able to finish it. And it's why strikers usually get paid the most per cure, because they're so crucial to your style of play, and especially when you are playing a very high-intense, high-pressing game like Newcastle Jets want to, you need to be converting the chances that you create. It's all well and good to be creating the chances, but if you're not actually putting them away, then it makes it very difficult for you for the whole season.
Certainly does. The teams will need to put away their chances, particularly the Mariners we've talked about. If you are just joining us, Central Coast Mariners, they are going to be in the finals, but who they'll play, that is what they have to determine. They need to get all 3 points to try and avoid sitting in 6 to play Adelaide United. And they really, really would love to finish in 4th so they can host the elimination final. They would need some help with Western United either losing or drawing to Wellington tomorrow. And also 4:50 Australian Eastern Standard Time, Western Sydney Wanderers are going to take on Canberra as well. So those three teams fighting for it all still in the final round. Gomez thought about the pass and couldn't find the run of Pia Trimis.
This has happened a couple of times on this left-hand side where they've played out of the pressure. Annabelle Martin, little 1-2, and then into Gomez, which the Jets will have to be wary of. Just again, that final pass, we see Izzy Gomez so many times get that position and get the ball possession in midfield, turn and start driving at the opposition defence. And it has been working on this left-hand side. It'll be interesting to see if they continue to keep peppering and trying to break down the Newcastle defence.
Watch and see how that goes. Play out. Focus Brown. Fire Wallendow that time. It's a dangerous cross, but actually never made its way into the field of play. Adams played a few games this season, had some impact as a substitute. Hasn't got regular minutes, but one of those promising young players for the Jets that they look to. And it's always difficult being some of these clubs, trying to make sure you're able to develop your talent, also retain them as well.
Absolutely. I think crucial, and we see it season after season, Procure, about how crucial the recruitment is for players and retention of players as well. It's difficult. It's a difficult league to retain the good players, whether they're our local players or our international players. I feel like we're really a league that a lot of other leagues see that they can pick up the talent and take them, whether it's to Europe, whether it's to Scandinavia, whether it's to North America. There's so many other enticing opportunities for players to go and play around the world, and that's how we need to approach and look at the A-League Women's as well, as something that it is going to continue developing players, and players are going to come in and they're going to keep going out to other leagues.
Curling ball from Adams, and Tash Bryant fell down. Not quite sure what happened there. Right, Ish, and you mentioned, you think about players like Daniela Galich from Melbourne City last season, Maisie Fraser as well from Wellington. Some star players are leaving the league, but we've still got a lot of talent still left in the competition.
Absolutely, and the talent's still coming through, and we need to continue developing that talent. And also, I think what the A-League Women does is have a wonderful balance of experienced players and international experience, and some of the younger generation, some of the 15, 16-year-olds that are able to come through and play at the top level, and I think that's a real strength of the A-League.
Trimis not able to win that ball back. Now, Allen forced to retreat, find Tash Pryor. See the pressure that Ish mentioned early on. Working on applying it. That ball too far for Sophie Hoban. Galich. Rasmussen. Haven't seen too much of her early on in this game. Now using a lot of the width. Mariners. It's immediately coughed up to the Jets. Will play out from Sarah Langman. Sure she'd like to retake that. Bollendow. That's floating beautifully. Opus Brown couldn't find a way to redirect it goalward.
I mean, that was a huge opportunity. Copus Brown, Bollendow, lovely little look up. Saw Copus Brown in the middle there. There's no one on her there. That's a huge opportunity missed from Libby Copus Brown. And with her quality, you would expect her to do better. And Newcastle Jets really should be 1-0 up.
Yeah, absolutely. She was able to redirect, but just not able to get enough power as Kajaniak almost got herself caught up. Didn't have the best game the last time these sides faced off. There was maybe a few goals that she would like to take back.
It was almost like Libby Copus Brown maybe expected.
Gomez to Rasmussen, can't get it entangled from her feet. We've seen Izzy Gomez a few times, Ish, find those little pockets of space to kind of attack.
Yeah, absolutely. And how quickly Central Coast Mariners, they get the ball, win it back, always looking to Izzy Gomez. She is really that linchpin from defence to attack, just connects the play so well. But love not just her passing game, but when she gets the ball, turns and starts driving at the opposition defence, makes it very difficult to defend.
It's a boggling effort that Zaniak has to palm away. Bianca Galich, the captain.
It's audacious, isn't it? Bounced a couple of times, looked a bit awkward more than anything, didn't have too much power behind it.
Who they find? They try and put Zaniak under a lot of pressure. Ray plays it short. Trimis back to Ray. Will they get across eventually in? No, they find Ray, Trimis again. Now she gets the cross. Peter Trimis off the crossbar. Dazzling effort.
Well, I was wondering whether they'd messed it up on that short corner. Set play there, little 1-2 between Taylor Ray, Pete Trimis, then a reverse pass to Taylor Ray. Not the best of touches from Peter Trimis. Able to get it out of her feet. A wonderful strike. I thought that was going to dip into the far post, but just skimmed off the crossbar.
It was dipping. That's a warning sign. It's Gomez now. Not dealt with. Rasmussen, can she find her way through the traffic? And now the strike off the bar from Brooke Nunn. Pennick, can she get an effort this time? Floats it. Gomez at the back post. How has it not gone in? How many chances? The Mariners, it looked like they were going to score, and every single time was the post, was a Krasaniak. Somebody got in the way.
I mean, it was just crossbar, post, hit, thought Brooke Nunn had it, and another crossbar. Jade Pennick had a nice little touch around the defender, dinked it back into the far post. I thought Izzy Gomez was going to get that. I mean, it was at 4 or 5 chances for Central Coast Mariners.
Yeah, that effort from a corner as well. Looked like Tash Pryor was actually the one who got in the way just as Izzy Gomez headed it towards goal. But that Brooke Nunn effort, that you and I looked at, and it looked like it was going straight into the net.
We were definitely out of our seats. We thought she just dinked and that was just dipping in under the crossbar. But no, it held up in flight. But some great moments of pressure from the Central Coast Mariners. Just sustained pressure in this final third of Newcastle Jets.
It's so early in the game, Ish. I've got to imagine that that's a kind of a confidence boost. But what does it do for Newcastle? We'll come back to that as that's played through to Jackson, but cleared by Langman. But what does that do for Newcastle to be saved so many times? Is it you side of confidence, or are you feeling more pressure now?
Well, I think it's confidence, and you feel like you've had a little bit of luck, so you can get on with it. And even with that through ball here, and we'll see how this attack develops. But it hasn't necessarily slowed the momentum, has it? I think it's actually given Newcastle a little bit more of a spring in their step. Right, okay, we got a bit of luck there. Let's try and crack on and see what we can do and put the Mariners under pressure. They're committing. They've got 5 players that we can see pushed forward onto the Mariners. So they want to do the same thing. They want to win the ball higher up the pitch.
Through Landau, slipping it forward for Copus Brown. Langman quickly out. And just getting caught by Libby Copus Brown on the way through. Will you maybe just take a moment to take a deep breath if she wants?
That's it, just take the time here. Langman, a little knock. Another wonderful ball through Copus Brown, just the ball running away. Tried to maybe get a foot in case Langman spilled it out. A little bit of contact there. But we've seen momentum just go shift from one team to the other.
Doesn't matter that the Jets aren't going to be playing finals. There is still a lot on the line for them. You want to finish your season on a positive note, particularly if you don't have any games left.
Absolutely, and I feel like you play without pressure. So this is the last game of the season. You want to enjoy it, okay? There's nothing necessarily up for grabs, but that means a lot of the time you play a bit more relaxed and you enjoy the game. And as we've seen, these two teams play a similar style, both committing players forward to win the ball higher up the pitch, which means we're seeing a very transitional game from end to end, which makes for a great entertainment.
Galich, Nunn, sending it across, but into the hands safely of Krasaniak. Claire Adams, can she turn and go? Closely followed by Izzy Gomez. Ball finds her. He's like a magnet. Tremis under pressure from Davis. Just can't keep her with her.
Even just the intent from both teams to get the ball back in play quickly. Zaniak in the Newcastle goal wanting to play that ball out nice and quickly, get the attacking play done. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of controlled possession is what I would say. It's gone from one team to the other. Newcastle Jets just pipping the Mariners with just under 54% of possession. But I feel like this is the style of both of these teams.
Hoban, Copus Brown. Works by Sophie Hoban, just couldn't find the gap for that pass. Brooke Nunn, they're away. Getting dragged back. This may actually just help Central Coast just to settle things for the moment. Pennick, back to Nunn, got space to attack. Rasmussen trying to ask for the ball to be slipped through. Nunn holds it up. And not on the same page as Pennick. Pennick wanted to go inside, Nunn went on the outside.
Yeah, you saw a little movement there. She thought she was going to check back off so she could come and get the ball at her feet. Jade Pennick was actually looking for that ball in behind towards the byline, just not quite on the same page. But again, Taylor Ray getting that ball from a central defensive position within 2 to 3 passes. Then the Mariners are looking to try and play into the final third of the Jets. Just need that little bit more quality, I think, from both teams.
Gomez tripped up by Cass Davis.
Happens time and time again, doesn't it? We see Izzy Gomez get fouled so many times because she is so good at getting that ball turning quickly. She's already facing forward. Great. Saw Cass Davis, tried to drag the ball away from her. Not much Cass Davis could do about that, but a rightful yellow card.
First yellow card. And I've talked about the discipline for the Newcastle Jets. They've had 6 red cards themselves this season and 2 second yellows. So that's 8 times a player has been sent off for them this season. The rest of the league have only had 6 red cards in total for all of the other teams. It's quite an astonishing stat.
Yeah, that's incredible, and that's really tough to manage as a coach and within a team environment.
Rasmussen sailing over. Always looked high, but it was something that could, just frighten you a little bit.
Yeah, it was in a good distance for Rasmussen to definitely have a strike on that. Would have been good to get potentially on target. Try and just always rising up and over, though, wasn't it? Really need to keep her head over the ball a little bit more. Try and whip that up and over and around the Newcastle wall.
Ray. Eventually wins a throw in.
And just back to that point before, Picure, about the disciplinary record for Newcastle. 6 straight red cards is an area of concern. You have to be asking what type of mindset, why are the players doing that? Whether they were deserved or not, it doesn't matter. Having 6 straight red cards is something that you need to look at as a team and go, okay, what's our culture? How are we applying ourselves to games? How is our application to make that happen?
Allen, and straight to Sarah Longman.
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating, and I think personally at this level, it's not acceptable, is it? It just makes it so difficult. And the calibre of players, Sheridan Gallagher, such a crucial player, attacking player for this Newcastle Jets team, and has had a straight red card, got 2 yellows last week. You lose a player like that, and it's hard to make up with the depth of your squad to replace those calibre of players.
Rasmussen, Trimis. This is well worked for the Mariners. A heavy touch from Rasmussen, but it will find a teammate in Izzy Gomez. Brooke Nunn. Martin. And she curled it. And Krasaniak, safe pair of hands. All right, Ish, it's been a story of Newcastle season. It's been really difficult for them. A couple of them has been from their goalkeeper, Danielle Krasaniak. Some really unfortunate ones there. A couple of Dogzo ones that Libby Copus-Brown and Claudia Chico have been involved in. They've added up and they've lost them points, and that's the big part. Brooke Nunn, effort from Nunn, and well saved from Krasaniak.
Thought that was going in Picure. Again, another long-range effort from the Mariners. They're getting into these little pockets of space about 20, 25 yards out. Tell you what, if Brooke Nunn had taken just maybe a touch further forward and then had that strike, I think that would have dipped in. But it just had a little bit of lack of pace where Krasaniak could read the flight of the ball and get a touch on that to make it out, go out for a corner.
Big early moments from goalkeeper Danielle Krasaniak. Big saves important as it's 0-0 still. Martin, that's a curling effort, punched away. Fancy bit of trickery there from Izzy Gomez. Didn't necessarily work the way she probably would have wanted, but showing all the skills today. Rowe. Out to Taylor Ray. Lots of Jets shirts in and around it. Dundas. Hoban. Cut off by Jessica Nash.
Sophie, you're in the midfield.
And well marshalled by Peter Trimis just to force Lauren Allen off the field of play without forcing a foul.
Go, Liv.
Annabelle Martin's having a chat there with the 4th official. Not quite sure what she's on about, but
think the question was, should I throw the ball into her head when she's standing so close? Asking the fourth official.
Asking the important questions.
The important questions, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. The fire is still in the belly for both of these teams.
Gomez. Rowe. Moving it quickly. None finding Jade Pennick. Got numbers in the box. Sailing over all of them, though. Claire Adams trying to keep it in play. Able to do so this time. That's smartly done. Finding Sophie Hoban. And she'll go for Adams, who's continued the run forward. Eventually, tight angle, though. Looks really, really wide. Where are the numbers in support? That's flicked on. Away from goal. None. She's able to capitalise for the Mariners the other way. A little bit sloppy from both teams there.
Yeah, really, just that possession just changes over. Passages of play, so much space in the middle of the park where the teams are transitioning quickly. And really neither team is really controlling the tempo. The tempo is just very high all the time, isn't it? It's from one end to the other. I think at this point in the game, it's probably best to just try and settle yourself on the ball and try and control the tempo, which means slow it down and then make the right decisions of when you're going to speed it up.
Yeah, once again, poorly done. Martin to Nash. So interesting, Ish, when you look at the Central Coast Mariners, though, that this season, Taylor Ray was not brought in to be at centre-back, but she has done that because they've had some injuries, so she's now playing at centre-back. But you talked about her ball-playing ability. Does it add an extra dynamic for the Mariners heading into finals, having Taylor Ray in that position as Cass Davis is fouled?
Yeah, absolutely. She's a quality player, and I think we saw Momo Hayashi for the Brisbane Roar when I did the game against Central Coast Mariners slotted in to a central defensive role. But the modern-day defender is an attacker. The modern-day defender has all the skill sets of a central midfielder, and they're the ones so they can go and break through the lines of that first line of defence of the opposition. And I think Taylor Ray has held herself in such great esteem for this season and has been such a solid unit for the Central Coast Mariners in that central position.
With the move in the off-season. Davis, that's sitting up lovely for Pryor. Just couldn't get enough on it to redirect it back onto goal. Josie Wilson was coming in behind as well.
That's a huge opportunity missed. Cass Davis straight down the middle. Tash Pryor just trying to flick it on. I feel like maybe just try and get more contact of the ball and direct it back towards the opposite side of the goal rather than trying to flick it around the corner. It always makes it a much more difficult skill. It's been a couple of those Libby Copus round earlier on, trying to just help things on rather than maybe getting a better touch on the ball. That was a huge opportunity missed for Tash Pryor.
It's weird to say, but Newcastle maybe have had the best chances of this game. The Libby Copus Brown one, Tash Pryor just then. But then you also think about those flurry of chances that the Central Coast Mariners had for Brooke Nunn. Jade Pennick biting Izzy Gomez at the far post. They had that real flurry, but it's either side feel like they definitely should have a goal at some point. As Trimis in a foot race with Lauren Allen. And Allen just able to stick a boot in there and knock it away. Copus Brown trying to find the run of Jackson. Read well by the Mariners defence. Galich, smart touch, and fouled by Dundas.
To your point previously, Picua, Central Coast have had 7 shots on target, and probably 4 of those were in that flurry of shots that we spoke about, and actually only shots that the Jets have had as 1. So there's been kind of opportunities, but no shots on target.
As Rasmussen just lost track of it for the moment. Kazaniak able to stop that chance. Played long, but to Taylor Ray, and a beautiful touch. Pennick. And straight into the path of Wallendow.
Libby, Ollie, go and play in the pocket for a bit. Go in there. Leg up front. Quick.
Ryan Campbell just asking Libby Copus-Brown drop into the pocket a little bit, sending Claire Adams, number 32, a little bit higher up the pitch. And I definitely think that's a good call from Ryan. I think Libby Copus-Brown, and this is where you do struggle. If you don't have an out-and-out target player, you have to repurpose one of your quality players. And Libby Copus-Brown, we know, is that creative midfielder. She wants to get on the ball. You want her on the ball, being the one to play those balls into the further forward striker. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out for the rest of the half.
You're either out wide for the stop line or defend the middle.
Taylor Ray, high delivery, doesn't sit for anybody, and cleared away. Rowe trying to get none to run onto it. Jackson got there first. Walland out. Now it's a foot race. Taylor Ray cleverly using the support of her goalkeeper, Sarah Langman. Just having a little bit of trouble here, the Mariners just clearing the danger. Allen going back to do some defensive work is Peter Trimmis. Allen does well to dispatch her the first time, and then that was industrial. Not quite sure how Jessica Nash found Sarah Langman. Was it the arm? Was it the chest? I'm not quite sure.
I'd like to have a look at this replay, Pecure. It looks like when she went down, that looks like the left arm to me. The assistant referee had a good view of it straight across the line, unimpeded view. I think Jess Nash is very, very lucky to get away with that. She played it cool. There was a
didn't react.
Did not react at all, unless in the pace of it. It was a difficult angle for us to see from here as well. But I think
could that have been maybe one of those cases where they go, it hits your body and then it hits your arm, and that's always the question? Not quite sure.
I think she was getting her body in the way of it. So I know her arm was in a natural position. It was close to her body, but the way she was throwing herself at her body, to me, that has a bit more intent to it. She kept her arm down. Well, it was the top of her shoulder. Top of her shoulder. So, right. I mean, that could have gone either way. Let's say that could have gone either way. But looked like the right decision in the end. But in real time, from where we saw it, could have been
very, very close.
Yeah.
There were some arms raised from the Jets players as well. I don't think anybody was particularly sure. Just Pryor, Kajaniak. Ray. Don't know if Taylor Ray's showing off with her touch from these long range passes, but she's been phenomenal. Gomez shrugging off the challenge of Emma Dundas. Rowe. Now none. Josie Wilson coming to meet her. Pennick, and poked away by Emma Dundas.
That was better movement from there. I like Nunn playing just in behind the forward line, trying to get into those little pockets, but nice to see her and Jade Pennick kind of interchange. So Jade comes inside and then Brooke Nunn goes outside, just to change it up a little bit, make sure it's not predictable. Just to your point, this player, Taylor Ray, she just commands it at the back, doesn't she? And like quality, will bring the ball down, doesn't rush anything, keeps possession and controls the possession for the Mariners at the back.
This is a deep effort, and Gomez Bianca Galich not able to redirect it goalward. Now play quickly, and Copus-Brown can't chase it up. It's just bombs it. I'm not quite sure if it was close to one of the coaching staff.
No comment on that one.
That's fair, that's fair. But play continues. Galich. Ball hugging the line and eventually finding its way out. Pryor. Trying to find somebody. Now Libby Copus-Brown sending it along and sending it out.
We've seen more touches from Libby Copus-Brown as she has dropped into that more central midfield area. But then I think the issue is what has she got ahead of her, her options ahead of her. I think Tash Pryor then, she had space in front of her. I'm always trying to encourage players, when you get the ball, you've got that space, just drive into it. Try and engage one of the defenders rather than playing that ball too early.
Taylor Ray. Peter Trimis looks that she's switched sides, and that's finding the run of Pennick, and Krasaniak came a long way out. We got there first. And Cass Davis just taken out by Izzy Gomez, who we haven't seen as much of in the last few minutes.
Yeah, lovely little ball from Peter Trimis. Great vision here. Jade Pennick just on the inside between the two Newcastle defenders, but Krasaniak read it really well, staying nice and high to clear the danger.
Davis still down on the ground. No? Didn't look too much in the initial challenge, but Cass Davis has not looked to be in a good way.
No, she hasn't moved a lot. She has not moved a lot at all. Clutching, the referee's calling for people to come on. Not sure why they haven't come on earlier. Didn't quite see exactly what had happened, but she does look in a fair bit of discomfort. Also, at this point of the game, last 10 minutes, hopefully it's nothing too sinister for Cass Davis, but also a good time just to take stock, have a little breather, regroup. Last 10 minutes before half-time. Just looked awkward more than anything, didn't it? The way maybe she fell, left leg, left knee, the physio's looking at there, maybe as she landed, did look a little bit awkward.
It's very strange, and never like to see when players are just holding a particular part of their body, particularly the knee as well. It's just always concerning, but just didn't look like a lot initially, but she just didn't come up okay.
No, and it never does it? That's the issue. When you see the players also not moving, that's always a concern. But she looks like she's up now. Physio's given the thumbs up, which is great. Hopefully she'll be back up on her feet. She can see out the half. We can have a bit more of an assessment during half-time. Of course, recently we've seen Mary Fowler suffering from a ruptured cruciate. And we can see it's just kind of mishit it, like just maybe as awkward as she fell, maybe a little twist of the knee, but she's up, she's moving pretty freely now, which is great to see.
Cass Davis, the iron woman, she just always plays and never unavailable. A record number of games consecutively played, never missed a minute really. It was 175th game for the Newcastle Jets.
Yeah, that is incredible, and that is so important for the spine of your team, for having that consistency, that leadership, that experience as well from a player like Cass Davis.
Josie Wilson. And Davis is back on the pitch, which is good to see.
Good. Go, Lots, go, Lots, go.
Jackson let it run, and Ray had the better angle. Galich. And right idea, just didn't have enough height on the ball to find Rasmussen. Will sit for Pennick. Blocked away. Hoban. Continuing a good run forward. And forward. 8-1. Challenge of Brooke Nunn. Tees up from a long way out, and was dipping, but dipping way too late.
I mean, what a run from Sophie Hoban then. Came out from the left-hand side. Plenty of space in front of her. Kept driving into that space. And she eventually went around Brooke Nunn, dived in, was having a look, no one around. Right, okay, I might have a shot myself. Probably just held up as she struck the ball rather than hitting through it, just kind of chipped underneath it to see it go over.
Sophie Hoban's maybe a player you don't necessarily think is going to do all the things that you expect, but she's such a hard-working player and get involved, and before you know it, she's got a couple of goals to her name. There she is on the ball. Allen. Cutting it across, and Adams just couldn't get past Sarah Rowe. It was slowing up. I don't think it was going to go out the first time, and it's going to be a corner. I think Sarah Rowe maybe misjudged the speed of the ball.
Yeah, it definitely held up, didn't it, as it went across the goal. It was, again, they're getting in good positions down this right-hand side, but not really anything to hit in the centre of the park for Newcastle Jets. They don't really have that target player, which is where they're really missing out.
Adams playing it short, finding Hoban. She scored from this type of effort before early in the season. Dundas looks up and not quite sure she necessarily saw it. It was maybe Claire Adams from a long way out, but she couldn't keep it in.
It's been a pretty even first half, I'd say, on reflection. Last 5 minutes going in to the half. Big transitions in the game, haven't we? We've seen attacks up one end, we've seen attacks up the other end. Central Coast, let's say, with the better opportunities, actually getting some shots on target, hitting the crossbar. But that's not to say that Newcastle aren't probing and finding those gaps in the Central Coast defence on those quick transition moments.
Well, we're nearing, obviously, half-time-ish. Which of the two coaches is it? Ryan Campbell or Em Husband? Who is happier of the first half performance? Or are both a little bit disappointed?
Oh, not necessarily disappointed. I think it's been reasonably easy. Look, I think Central Coast Mariners missing those opportunities where there was 3 or 4 chances and they hit the post, they hit the crossbar. I'd feel a little bit disappointed in that, but I think measuring the whole half, I think it's been pretty evenly matched. I think it is. It's a really transitional game. We're going from one end to the other with both teams. The intensity is slowed down for this last few minutes, and I think both teams will be happy going in, not conceding. I think that's really important for the last 4 minutes of the half.
Nash. Galich did well to attract the pressure, and then finding Galich, trying to find the run of Pennick. Kept on her feet. Wilson closely following. Martin did well to shield the ball away from the danger. Ray, can they track the Jets in here and get a shot away? Nash. Galich. Pennick. And a heavy touch and losing possession, but it will come back. Trimmer started on the left-hand side, now on the right, and the ball not finding its way through.
There's a good little passage of play there from Central Coast Mariners. Just keep trying to probing, change the point of attack from one side to the other.
Gomez. Martin. Got options in the middle. Crossing it, Martin! Palmed away by Krzyzaniak. She's been needed a few times, but that was an impressive effort from Annabelle Martin.
Well, I think Annabelle Martin was probably, no, she had to look up at the keeper. Was she trying to get that cross in? Not really too sure, but no matter what, Krzyzaniak needed to make the save because that was dipping into the far post. That's 2 really important saves that Krzyzaniak has made in this first half.
She's been big in this game. Ray plays it short, as they've done a few times, the Mariners. Now this ball finally finds its way there. Rasmussen, I don't know how she got a boot to it in the end, but just couldn't trouble the keeper. Galich, and clipped the heels by Emma Dundas.
This is a great position, especially with the quality of Taylor Ray. Krzyzaniak's a couple of decent saves for the Newcastle Jets in the goal, but this, if you have a look at where Krzyzaniak is sitting on the far post, that's the spot. Taylor Ray, she could maybe have a shot on this near post, but I think you try and whip it into that far post and hope that your players run onto it.
Ray, curling effort, Pennick right there. Pennick still poking it away, trying to find Gomez. Not cleared. Martin cuts back inside. Nash falling to the ground as she went for a strike. Just couldn't get their feet sorted, the Mariners in the box. Brooke Nunn. Now out to Peter Trimmis. Up against Waterlow. Getting the cross in, Dundas getting it away. Rowe.
Good, Josie.
And
Good, Josie.
stepped up was Josie Wilson to snuff that chance out.
Good. Good, Libby. Well done, Josie Wilson.
Hoban forcing the issue and
Well done, Josie.
in the water with the free kick. 3 minutes added on to close out this first 45.
Yeah, another free kick in a decent position the last few minutes of the match. But Libby Copus-Brown, when she won that ball back in midfield for Newcastle Jets, she was looking forward and just had no options going forward. They came all the way back out. They went out down the left-hand side, ended up winning a free kick and giving themselves a couple of minutes to make something of this in the first half.
Davis, that ball sitting up. Allen at the far post. That stretch brute couldn't find the ball. It's the right idea.
Yeah, it was a great idea. You know, you always want that ball into the far post if it's got the trajectory where it's nice and flat and hits in, but obviously the pace off the grass as well. As the sun, we see the shadows lengthening out here in Maitland. Ball, the pitch gets a little bit cooler. Then it skids off it a little bit more, goes a little bit quicker, but I think Newcastle Jets will be happy that they've gone in not conceding a goal after all the opportunities that Central Coast Mariners have had. But they need to look for options going forward in the second half, because at the moment, I think with dropping Libby Copus-Brown back into that midfield area, it's good. She's on the ball more, but what does that mean for the options further in front of her? And I think that's where they've been struggling a little bit.
Have to wait and see what they do, but they need to find answers. They need to find goals to win this match. Really positive sign. Historically here, this season they played at Maitland's once. And that was against the Wellington Phoenix, the Newcastle Jets. And they won that game 1-0. So they'll be hoping some of that luck and some of that winning spirit finds them in this game as well. As Brooke Nunn tries to shrug off a few, not able to do so. Adams surrounded. Jackson, Copus-Brown looking for numbers up ahead, only one there. And that's Claire Adams in a foot race, causing some chaos. And Langman doesn't get that far, but gets it high, and then Copus-Brown just came charging through. Annabelle Martin, who's ended up on the ground. And doesn't look like a card's going to be given. We're going to be asking for the trainer to come on.
Yeah, Martin looking in a fair bit of discomfort there. Langman, high ball, trying to clear it out. Copus-Brown, oh, just stopped, really just kneed her in the back of the knee, actually. Stopped actually going for the ball, put her arms up, and then made the contact with Annabelle Martin.
She may be a little bit lucky not to get a card.
I think she's quite lucky there. I think at this point in the half, it's game management from the referee. She's decided. Annabelle Martin looks in a fair bit of discomfort there. And half-time is never your friend when you have a contact injury like that, because you start to cool down and then it stiffens up, and then trying to get yourself going for the second half can sometimes be very difficult.
So she'll be up in that half-time break, just trying to keep warm.
Trying to keep warm, yeah. Well, get a quick assessment, I think, from the physio, and yeah, just make sure that she continues on with some movement and trying to stay warm in the second half, if she can continue on.
Galich. Davis closely lurking. Gomez. Into some traffic. Jessica Nash, opposite number 4, closely followed by Devon Jackson. Those 3 minutes are up, and it's all obviously up to the discretion of Michaela Ryan. How much longer we'll play this first 45? Ray clearing it long. Hoban Couldn't get it past the Mariners that time. Brooke Nunn. Got Galich through the middle. Easy Gomez that time. And that's it for the first 45 minutes between the Newcastle Jets and the Central Coast Mariners. 0-0 at the break. Both sides had their chances. The Mariners had a flurry of them. Newcastle's a little bit more sporadic. Maybe Libby Copas-Brown a little bit lucky heading into the break not to have a yellow. But at half-time, here at Maitland's, it is Newcastle Jets 0, Central Coast Mariners 0. It was an interesting first 45 minutes of football, wasn't it, Ish?
Yeah, the intensity of the first half, there was lots of transition moments. This was a great ball into the box. I thought Copas-Brown potentially thought Taylor Ray was just going to get a little touch on it. Could have done better in that instance. Nice little 1-2 here from the corner with Taylor Ray, Peter Trimmis. Little bit of luck there for Peter Trimmis hitting the crossbar with a good effort under pressure. But it really was Central Coast. I mean, this sequence of play, we're going to see probably 3-4 chances. It hits the crossbar, comes back out. Brooke Nunn hits the crossbar again. Gets back out, Jade Pennick gets the ball back into the far post. It was all over the shop. But somehow Newcastle were able to keep the ball out of the back of the net.
That goal was living a charmed life. Could not believe it happened. And then Krasniak, she delivered some really big saves for Newcastle.
She did. She came up with a couple of good saves. This was another great opportunity. I think Tash Pride just trying to, rather than flick that ball with her head, should have hit it back towards the opposite way where it came. And this one, Annabelle Martin, wasn't a shot, wasn't a cross, doesn't matter. Krasniak needed to make the save. Another very good save, dipping away from her. But I think the match stats probably tell the story. Central Coast kept building into the game, had more possession. 11 shots on target. I think 3 or 4 of those were in that flurry of opportunities where it hit the crossbar. But I think they finished the half a lot stronger.
It was an interesting first half. It is 0-0 at the break. Interesting second 45 minutes of action. Well, it's 0-0 here at the Maitland Sports Ground between the Newcastle Jets and the Central Coast Mariners. But a big game tomorrow, and Narlene Masto and Teresa Plies are going to preview the Wellington Phoenix and Western United game in at Porora Park on Sunday. Wellington was beaten by Canberra United last weekend, and this brought an end to their finals campaign. Western United will be chasing a win as they look to remain in the top 6 and secure the 4th place position on the ladder.
And the final game to wrap up the last round of the Ninja A-League is Wellington Phoenix against Western United. Teresa, post-game, we saw Annalie Longo be a little bit emotional, and that kind of just shows us how much this means to her. And missing out on finals obviously wasn't part of the plan, but what kind of makes her such a special captain in this competition?
Oh, she's a special player. You're talking about over 130 caps for New Zealand. She's a natural leader. She's had an outstanding season as captain, and I think she'll feel that extra sense of responsibility about how the next season panned out. And you know, if it is her final club game coming this weekend, she'll be eager to go out and on a winning note against Western United.
A great captain whose legacy is well and truly set in stone at the club, but the one issue for Wellington they've got to address is their struggle to convert shots at the moment. They've scored less goals than last season. How do they go about addressing that?
Yeah, look, I think that right there says it all. And, you know, from last season, they lost a prolific striker in Mariana Speckmeyer, and I think that's exactly what they need there, that type of player. So I think the focus will probably be on recruitment and perhaps going for a more experienced goal scorer up top to complement their squad that they currently have.
For Western United, this could potentially shape up to be a must-win if they want to lock in a home elimination final. A couple of results can fall their way as well. How much does that kind of up the stakes for a lot of the players?
Yeah, that's a huge aspect, and for them there's a lot at stake, and it's almost a practice final for Western United before the real thing, and it'll be a great test for them, and it'll give their, I think knowing what's at stake will give their players plenty of motivation.
Now, since Carly Johnson has left the club, it feels like there's a bit of a void that still needs to be filled up top. Which players in this side would you really like to see step up come final series?
I think recently Hieda has been in goal scoring form, and Zimmerman, I mean, is an ever-present force out there. And but really, they'll need the whole squad on song throughout the match to create chances for those attacking players to finish.
It's sure to be an absolute cracker. We can't wait for it, and it's no better way to wrap up the final round. You can catch it live on Paramount Plus or 10 Play.
And there is all the fans out there at Maitland Sports Ground enjoying the halftime entertainment. Look at these kids, maybe the future stars of the Newcastle Jets. But after 2 seasons in coaching the Wellington Phoenix team and a 10-year association with the club, Paul Temple is leaving after the completion of their match tomorrow. Paul discusses the mentality and pressure on the Knicks and his feelings on leaving the coaching role.
I think the last few weeks particularly, there's been a lot of weight on the shoulders. I think they know that every game's been that kind of must-win mentality, and it does. It changes things. It changes the way you approach it. It changes the way that your mentality is in the game as well. And there's that kind of desperation, whereas I think maybe some of our best football this year's come when we've been a little bit more free-flowing and had that freedom. So that's something for the team to keep working on as they keep pushing towards trying to get into playoffs and making finals in the future. This season, goal scoring's been a little bit of an issue for us, and we haven't scored enough goals, and when we've been dominating games, haven't put goals away, and ultimately those things come back to get you, and when you don't put the points on the board early enough, then you add the pressure at the end of the season, which is what happened. There's no doubt you need to have like top players because they win you games and get you points, and so we've got to make sure as a club that in the future, like, good players keep coming in, keep building on the mentality. But there's definitely the blocks have been laid, and there's definitely enough talent in New Zealand for the Phoenix to do that. And there's ambition. You know, the club wants to push for those things, and I was fully on board of all of that. You know, like, I knew that was what we were aiming for. I knew that was what the goals were, and I was on board of it too. And ultimately, you know, I gave everything to try and get that team to the playoffs last season. So it's definitely not through lack of effort or trying. I think the players have put in so much as well. But we're aware that we've kind of fallen short of where we wanted to be, where the club wanted us to be, and ultimately that's the way football works. Yeah. I can only wish the Phoenix the best of luck for what comes next and the coach that takes over. The pressure of the last probably 6 must-win games has maybe restricted us a little bit, and we haven't played with the same fluidity that we've been kind of, I guess, known for in the previous sort of year and a half. So for me, it's about getting back to that, playing that style of football, enjoying the ball, attacking. We've got the ability to kind of take the pressure off ourselves and enjoy the game. And yeah, I want to go out with a bang. So it'd be lovely to win and play some great football, score some goals, and be able to celebrate at the end.
You can make it with Ninja barbecues better with electric grills and sear and char like a gas grill. Plus you can also barbecue smoking and dry outdoors. Backyard bash is better with pizza ovens and giving crispy crust. High heat roasting and barbecue smoking. No matter how you're spending your time outdoors, bring the indoors, outdoors with Ninja. Jets fans, please put your hands together for our halftime entertainment, our small-sided games involving Curry FC and our walking football participants. Newcastle Jets are back out here for the final 45 minutes of the season. Things are evenly poised in the F3 derby. So let's get behind your Newcastle Jets as they chase 3 points to finish season 24-25.
I'm a gambling man. I'm about that. So we're going for a double or nothing. I like that, actually. Playing the gambling man.
Well, it was a first half that certainly had moments for both teams, particularly the Central Coast Mariners. They had more shots and more shots on target each. But it's going to be a big 45 if they want any chance of finishing 4th in the league table. They have to get a win.
That's it. It's converting those chances and opportunities into goals. And I think some moments of frustration in the first half. They hit the crossbar a few times. Some good saves from Kraseniak in the Newcastle goal. But they really want to get the win to set themselves up in the best position possible for that elimination final.
The Easter Bunny is out there as well. I don't know, does the Easter Bunny give you good luck? I'm not quite sure, but the Easter Bunny is out there and we are underway for the second half here at Maitland Sports Ground. Newcastle Jets, no finals to play for this season, but a chance to play spoilers for the Central Coast Mariners. They had some chances of their own, not as many and not as consistently, but they had chances.
Yeah, they're definitely some of those half chances. Tash Pry, little flick of the header. probably could have done a little bit better. Libby Copus-Brown got herself into good positions. They're getting themselves into good positions, good crosses into the box. Now it's just that final product from both teams.
It's Panic with the outstretched boot. Couldn't find the pass from Rasmussen. Cass Davis, Dundas. As you talked about in that first half, each the pressure that Central Coast want to apply. Allen. And Claire Adams, for a moment, it looked like she was going to find the ball, but it slowed up. Dundas took it away, and then one back by Izzy Gomez. And that's finding the space that Panic can attack, but Rosie Wilson will also take that invitation as well and clear it away.
The second half has started similar to what the first half did. End-to-end stuff, really trying to get that ball nice and early, play it in behind each of the team's defences where there is space, especially when they are pressing quite high up the pitch, to try and win the ball back in those more advanced areas.
Claire Adams turning away. Now Lauren Allen. Trimis is trying to block her path. Hoban turning away from Ray. And win it back immediately, the Mariners. Panic. It's the feet of Wollondale. We talk about the importance of finishing fourth, and particularly for the Mariners, as look at this challenge. Shoved off, and easy call.
Yeah, not too much in it. I think Jade Pennick was asking maybe for a little bit more from the referee, but, you know, nudge in the back, pushed over. Let's crack on, get the game going.
And the yellow card so far in this game is to Cass Davis from between the two teams. But going back to the point about it's important finishing fourth for the Mariners, they've only beaten Adelaide, Western Sydney and Canberra collectively one time this season, as Rasmussen has a side on goal. Rasmussen always sailing over, couldn't keep it down.
I think Rasmussen will be really disappointed in that finish. Did wonderfully well here, got a nice little step over onto her right foot. Just leaning back, hitting that ball over the bar. Needs to get that. I mean, ideally that goes straight back across goal into the far corner. But to not even get a save out of Langman out of Krasaniak is not great from Rasmussen.
Panic found the space, tried to find a teammate, and the offside flag from Eastwood Park comes up to save the Jets.
You know, they're the type of moments when you reflect on these games. They had so many of those opportunities, hit the crossbar, a couple of good saves from Krasaniak. That was a great opportunity for Rasmussen, and I really genuinely think she should have scored from that. Depending on what happens in the rest of this game, they've had enough chances to put this game to bed already.
It's awkward, and I don't know if Jessica Nash or Sophie Hoban, someone got their hands on Sarah Langman. She ended up on the ground.
I think it was Sophie Hoban, just a few little afters there. I know Newcastle don't have the best disciplinary record. Actually, they've got the worst disciplinary record in the A-League for this season. Always that little bit extra. Jess Nash just trying to shepherd the ball, little push into her back. Yeah, well, not too much in that either. I mean, you see that time and time again.
Rasmussen holding the run, waiting for numbers in the box. Found the angle and found the boot of Wilson, who cleared it away. And Martin not able to control it that time.
It's good to see Annabelle Martin out there for the second half after that little knock in behind her knee by Libby Copus-Brown late in the first half. But she looks to be moving pretty freely, which is great.
Running into the path of Panic. Izzy Gomez cutting it across. That's a beautiful pass. Peter Trimis once again sailing over. That'll be a goal kick.
Another great opportunity. Izzy Gomez loved this ball here. Love that ball. Peter Trimmis didn't have the greatest touch, just kind of bobbled up, and then she struggled to get it down again, which ended up when she had a little bit of pressure from the Jets defenders just going up and over the goal. But, you know, they're doing 90% of the things very well at the moment. They're getting themselves into good position. It's just the final product, and that's something that no matter what you're coaching, what information you're giving, that's got to be the responsibility of the players. It can't be up to the coach.
It's been a tough point for the Central Coast Mariners this season. Goal scoring hasn't been a thing hasn't been a strong suit for them. They struggle on that front.
No, I think you do see it. We talk about a Melbourne City this season, who are a great team. They've gone undefeated, had an incredible season. And a huge part of that has been Holly McNamara and how many goals she's scoring. The same with Melbourne Victory. They've had Emily Gilnick, they've had Alex Chidiak, they've had numerous goal scorers. And that is the difference between the top teams and the rest.
That's a dangerous one. Finding Langman, though. Yeah, for the Central Coast Mariners, they've only scored 29 goals this season. That puts them 6th, which is about where they sit on the league table. They just haven't been exceptional, and they have got a goal difference of 5, and that's the positive thing for them. That's why they need to win, because if Western United were to draw, for instance, you know, Mariners go above them anyway, and they've got the goal difference, and it's all those little things that matter at the end of the day.
Yeah, and they matter hugely, and it's like, you know, what chances you're creating, how you're creating those chances, and then putting the icing on the cake of the finishing, being clinical, taking care with your finishes as well. I think that's probably one thing that we have seen and has been an example today for the Mariners. And, you know, towards the end of this game, whatever happens, if this ends up in a draw or they end up losing, they'll be like kicking themselves. You go back and you're like, we had the chances to do it. We had so many chances to score 2-3 goals against Newcastle, but just a bit of lack of quality in the finishing.
Asked me a lot that time with the pass. Get it down. Gomez can't get it far. This time, Krasaniak launches it even further. Sarah Rowe has to hand it away, but only out and for the Jets.
Just halfway, don't go front.
Gomez, that's beautifully done. Nunn got Trimmis on the far side, and that ball way too centrally and not close enough to Peter Trimmis.
Also, again, I would love to see Brooke Nunn. She had so much space in front of her. Continue driving into the space, and then you've got a better 2v1 on that left-hand side with Peter Trimmis. If no one comes to you from Newcastle Jets, if none of the defenders step out of their defensive line, then you just keep running and you might have a shot on target. And I just think played that ball far too early.
Could it be, Ish, is it a case of they're really desperate for the goal and maybe they're rushing a few things? As we come back to it, as Izzy Gomez tries to play it early for Trimmis. And Krasaniak quick off her line.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think, look, also, the ball travels quicker than a player, so the player dribbling with the ball. So there's sometimes a propensity to move the ball quickly further forward in 2 or 3 touches. I do think that that's also the decision-making and having that confidence of, okay, well, no, I'm gonna take responsibility. I'm gonna take this ball with me and then see what the Newcastle defenders do and try and engage with them rather than, I mean, Brooke Nunn was probably 10, 15 yards in front of the Newcastle defensive line. And in the end, it was poor execution. At the end of the day, you know, that ball gets into Pete Trimmis. We're having another discussion. But there, she had 2 options there, and I don't think she chose the right one, and her execution wasn't good enough.
Langman out to Taylor Ray. Martin able to keep it in. And Wilson just being able to block it, just kind of really block it. Any chances of crosses, they've kind of snuffed them out, the Newcastle Jets, as the game has gone on. Now, this is a smart ball into Copus Brown, and the flag's gone up on the far side. Just a little bit too early.
Yeah, it was a good run by Libby Copus-Brown, though, and that's exactly what Newcastle need. They need her, when she gets the opportunity, to make those deep runs to try and affect the play in a more forward advanced position.
Claire Adams.
To Central Coast Mariners' credit, they're playing a really nice high line, and they've got it. Taylor Ray was looking straight across the line there, and they were pushed up. They're having a look across at the Newcastle Jets attackers and really trying to force them into it.
Davis to Adams. They got numbers. And was that the right shot? That's the question. Claire Adams took a strike at it. It wasn't too far.
Yeah, she was quite far outside the box. Earlier one, Libby Copus-Brown offside again. Central Coast Mariners playing a very, very high line here. Claire Adams on that previous effort. She did have another teammate on that right-hand side. Decided to take the long-range shot, and it went over, but yeah, we talk about decision-making. These are all the little things. Ryan Campbell yelling from the sideline to keep the ball.
They may get lucky here. Jackson with the strike. Devin Jackson! The Mariners got sloppy and the Jets punished them. Devin Jackson on the score sheet. Sarah Langman can only stand and watch as the ball went past her. And the Newcastle Jets, they may prove to be spoilers on the day.
Well, I can't say it's necessarily been coming, but lose the ball in those central areas. Cass Davis bouncing up Sarah Rowe, kind of just trying to nick at it. It's all very messy around there, isn't it? And then Devin Jackson comes up and just pokes the ball home to give Newcastle Jets the lead.
Well played. Ryan Campbell in the midst of all that was yelling, keep possession, and that's what happens when you have possession of the ball. You get a shot away on goal. And Devin Jackson getting on the score sheet. Her 6th goal of the league campaign. And she's now their equal top goal scorer with Sheridan Gallagher.
Yeah, very unlike Izzy Gomez to give the ball away in that position. She tried to turn inside. Devin Jackson was actually one of the players putting pressure on Izzy Gomez. Just bounced up. I think Sarah Rowe with that right foot trying to flick the ball rather than get through it. It was all just a bit non-committal. And in the end, the ball popped up for Devin Jackson, and she just poked it home into the far post. And we see the shift of momentum. What have Central Coast Mariners got now? They've had plenty of opportunities to get themselves on the scoreboard, and they'll be really disappointed to have conceded.
Touch from Jackson that time, maybe taking it away from Claire Adams. It's a lot of pressure that Newcastle have had to sustain, to withstand in this game from the Mariners at time. It's been very transitional, as you've mentioned, Ish, but this is a real boost of confidence for this Newcastle side.
Yeah, absolutely. I think getting let off for all those opportunities that the Mariners had in the first half, and that chance from Rasmussen earlier on in the second half, they're the things that really, I've said it again, they keep you up at night as a player, especially if you come out of this game and you're lost and you haven't given yourselves a good opportunity to get into that solid position for the elimination final.
You just saw the side of Taryn King and Tiana Fuller there. Tiana Fuller, the 16-year-old, with 5 goals to her name, and she's been electric when she comes on as a sub. We're going to see some substitutions now. Taryn King making her way on. Sarah Rowe coming off. Taryn King also making her return just a few weeks ago from that ACL injury as well. Tiana Fuller, who I've mentioned, she's going to come on. King gets the armband. And we'll also see Peter Trimmis come off as well. So attacking changes in terms of Fuller coming on for Peter Trimmis, and a defensive swap with Taryn King coming in for Sarah Rowe. Interesting to see what that changes, because obviously Taryn King is usually a centre-back, so does somebody push a little bit further forward? We'll have to wait and see. And this ball slipping out for Tiana Fuller. Instant impact maybe. Not that time.
So many shots from outside. box, aren't there? So many shots. Wonderful quick transition. Tiana Fuller, we know how dangerous she is. She's got plenty of pace.
It's that space that they can really...
It's that space, I say it time and time again, you know, maybe take a touch, get it closer towards the goal. She was so far out, and the angle was quite difficult as well. You know, it's going to be an absolute screamer if it goes in. I just think percentage play here. Great ball from Rasmussen. Right, she's got her head up there. Maybe another touch, try and cut back inside. But, you know, I just feel like the angle and where she was on the pitch. And if you are going to get a strike on goal, get your head over it, keep your head over the ball. We've seen so many of these shots from outside the box go 5 or 10 yards over the ball. Over the goal, sorry.
Deep ball and sailing over the head of Taryn King. Galich having to chase Hoban. Finding it first, Copus Brown. Back to Hoban, that was clever. And Rasmussen doing the defensive duties as well. Now the pressure really ramps up for the Central Coast Mariners. They know they've got a lot to play for. Obviously, it's a big game, you know, really important. They make an impact now.
Yeah, it looks like a little shuffle in formation. Taylor Ray on this right-hand side, so I think Emily Husband will be looking for her to really drive forward.
I can already see her trying to find Rasmussen. I haven't seen Rasmussen a lot through the centre. We've seen her out wide, but she just hasn't been in the middle.
Yeah, and she can be a great target player for them. She's had to drop deep to get possession though in turn, and I think maybe now with having to throw everything at it, try and get a goal back at least as a starting point. As a starting point from the Mariners, I think Rasmussen needs to stay in that central area, stay within the width of the 6-yard box, so you are a target player for any of those balls that are down wide and getting crosses into the box.
Well, we've talked about it a few times, how important this game is. Central Coast Mariners started this game in 5th position on 31 points. The Canberra United started this round on 30 points, sitting in 6th position. Now, Canberra are actually playing at the moment. They are facing off against the Western Sydney Wanderers. We'll come back to it as Jade Pennick get a chance to equalise. Lost it. Still it bobbles, and Krajaniak able to pounce back on it. Again, they get forward, but they just can't find the net.
It was a wonderful play on the left-hand side. Izzy Gomez, beautiful little ball into Jade Pennick. Just got the touch away from Tash Pryor. Was trying to play it. Looked like even into the near post. Krajaniak came out. Great desperation defence just in front of the goal line from the Jets to deny the Mariners an equaliser.
Absolutely, and they need that equaliser more so right now because, spoiler alert, Canberra United are currently a goal ahead of the Western Sydney Wanderers. So that means that Canberra now, because Western United haven't played, are the team that are sitting in 4th position on 33 points. So Central Coast Mariners, a draw is not going to be enough. They need to get all 3 points. And it leaves it up to see what happens tomorrow in that game between Wellington and Western United.
Well, nothing has changed for the Mariners from the start of the game. The only difference is they're a goal down. But now they have to get 2 goals to get back in this game, and you just sneaking suspicion. Sometimes it's just not your day. Yeah,
for sure. And they definitely want to get something because they don't want to sit 6 and have to play Adelaide. As Krajaniak saves it wide.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Picure. Playing Adelaide at the moment, they've been informed. They've had a wonderful season, Adelaide United. And not just that, the travel away, slightly different time zones, not a huge time difference, but all of that, you know, it comes into consideration. And Adelaide at home have been pretty exceptional this year. I mean, they've been great and consistent all year, deserve to be in the position that they're in. That is a tough game for the Mariners if these results stay the same. Still got plenty to play. They've created plenty of opportunities. They just need 1 goal back in there. They make it difficult for the Jets.
Curling ball, Krajaniak coming out, punching it. Gomez finding Ray. These players are going to really need to step up. Cutting it across and cleared away by Wilson. Nunn trying to hold a few off. Martin. Bianca Galich has also given up that captain's armband to Taryn King as well. Galich on the ball now. Rasmussen applying pressure. Newcastle, they're not satisfied with just one goal. Copus Brown, and that's not what they're after. Trying to turn away was Izzy Gomez. Just clearing it to the far side. We're going to see India Breyer come on to replace Claire Adams, who's been impactful and was a big part of that goal they scored on Claire Adams. Only 18 years of age.
Yeah, I think it was a good move from Ryan Campbell. He started with Libby Copus Brown, a bit more of an advanced position, but ended up dropping her back and pushing Claire Adams a bit further forward. Gave them a bit more of a target player, and just to get Libby on the ball a little bit more. Such a creative player for this, an experienced player for the Newcastle Jets.
Claire Adams is a scholarship player for the Jets and has had moments this season showing her potential when given the opportunity.
Second phase!
Rasmussen trying to redirect it into her own path. A little bit heavy with the touch. Gomez, and that touch not good enough in that moment. I have to say, East Josie Wilson has been really good in this game. There's no Lorena Bauman, no Claudia Chico, but she stepped in. She's been in this role a few times this season, but she's been really solid for them.
Yeah, she has. She's been really good covering in defence. Has a bit of pace about her as well. So when those balls have gone in behind, sometimes she's outrun the Mariners players, but her positioning's been really good. But just, it's like she's in everything, isn't she? She's reading the play really well, and she's been fantastic, as you say.
Brooke Nunn using the help of Izzy Gomez. Got Annabelle Martin on the right-hand side. That's where the ball's going to go. Rasmussen Central. They can find the ball there. Martin just took her time. Closed down the angle, the Jets, and then headed away. And Nash trying to cut it back across her body to find a teammate. Unable to do so that time.
Yeah, all the responsibility now down to the Mariners, isn't it? Getting into the 20 minutes of the game.
Have to force the issue.
So also have to take risks. You have to commit players forward. I mean, at this point, maybe wait a little bit longer, stay nice and tight at the back, but the Jets are still pushing on. They're still trying to win the ball. You see Ryan Campbell encouraging the team to win the ball further up the pitch. He still wants them pressing high. That's been the philosophy of the Jets for this season, pressing high, trying to win that ball back high up the pitch.
It's a beautiful ball. Panic! Krasaniak, another big save. She's had probably her best game so far this season. Cleared away all the chances for the Mariners, and now on the counter. And that ball too heavy. And Copus Brown on the other side.
Well, what a ball from Izzy Gomez. And yes, Krasaniak stood tall, but I think Jade Pennick should have done better with that. That should have been a goal. Went straight to Krasaniak. She held her ground. She stood strong, came down, and Jade Pennick could not find the back of the net. And it was a quick transition from the Jets. And I thought the pass should have been out to this left-hand side to Libby Copus Brown, who had plenty of space. But another huge opportunity goes begging for the Mariners.
Tiana Fuller trying to play this 1-2. And well, either it was out before, it's out now. So be a goal kick.
Yeah, you know, you were asking me in the first half, Bakura, about how you feel when you have those chances, or how the Newcastle Jets feel. I feel as the time goes on in the game, you start just thinking, oh, like, we've had so many chances. What more can we do? It's like time and time again, you're in those positions, you're creating the chances and you're not putting them away, and you just think, there's not too much else you can do except put the ball in the back of the net. Which, and also as a coach, is incredibly frustrating because you just can't help it. There's nothing tactically, there's nothing more tactically you can do when you're getting into those positions to get strikes on goal.
Really good, just can't get that final end product. And we'll come back to the thought as Newcastle and Hoban just coughing it up to Brooke Nunn. For the Central Coast Mariners, it's at times been the concern they haven't been able to score goals as the season has gone on. At what point is that just no longer they're unlucky, or it is a system of the team? But we'll come back to it as Rasmussen, and there's Tash Pryor. Came lunging in, had to be careful, and got all ball. Oh, does that look like it definitely went out?
Yeah, to your point, I mean, look at this from Tash Pryor. Had to get the ball there, studs up, little flick, did well. Did try and keep the ball in as well. We'll see how this little bit of sustained pressure, and then we'll come back to that point we were talking about previously.
King, this is clever. Nunn, side on goal, wide it goes. The shots keep mounting, but the goals don't increase. Brooke Nunn this time.
Beautiful little play, nice little tap on from Rasmussen. You can see Brooke Nunn, right idea, decent execution, just that ball going out and away from Kruzaniak, but trying to hit it into the far post. But yet again, there was no save that needed to be made from Kruzaniak, and she has made a few good saves today, but at least Brooke Nunn, I think her intention was right, just the execution needed to be better. And I think that was what we were talking about before. At what point there's luck and then there's execution, and I think sometimes the execution and the finishing is what has let the Mariners down.
Ryan Campbell trying to instruct his side as goalkeeper Danielle Kruzaniak just gets a little bit of treatment. Take a look at that shot again. It's the right idea, he's just couldn't get it.
Right idea, yeah, you want to hit it back across goal, try and make the keeper make a save. Kruzaniak looked like she had herself in quite a good position as well, and Brooke Nunn, the way she hit it, kind of just, it was curling away from Kruzaniak rather than trying to hit straight through the ball. So it hits low and hard into that far post. But again, you know, they get themselves in good positions. You know, as Emily Husband, as a coach, you're like, look, you're getting yourself in good positions. You've got to keep just doing it and trying it and go again and again, and hopefully then that quality improves and they actually get themselves on the scoreboard. But it just becomes incredibly, it's incredibly frustrating when you're a player out on the pitch and you're playing in this game, let alone on the sideline. Yeah, let alone on the sideline when you've got no control and you can't change anything. I mean, the Mariners have had 23 shots and only, well, 9 on target. 9 on target is still a high number of shots to have had in a game and to have nothing to show for it. Newcastle Jets have had 5 shots and 1 on target.
It is a tale of both these teams. It is quite, if a microcosm of their seasons, it's really easy to have a look at because, well, Newcastle have had a lot of chances this season, but in a lot of games they've really struggled. And they haven't had many on target. They've been a counter-attacking side. They've got to make the most of a little. And the Central Coast Mariners have had more shots and they just can't put it away. Jackson, the goal scorer, out to Lauren Allen, sending it across and sending it straight into the hands of Sarah Langman.
Good. Go in there. So safe the fling back. Good save.
Tiana Fuller.
Good. Good.
And we talked about Isha at the start, how much pride maybe the teams have coming into the final game. They've got nothing to really play for, but Newcastle have had a lot of pride in their output today and have worked really, really hard. As Taylor Ray is trying to force the issue. Martin. That's a high delivery, and Pennick forcing it well wide.
Yeah, of course, Procure. And you don't want to, you know, that was a comment where I say, you know, are they in holiday mode? Are they already done for the season? But there's actually a nice freedom in not having to play for anything in the last game of the season where you can just enjoy yourselves. And sometimes you tend to, when the pressure's off and you've got that freedom, you do play better. And they've held, you know, they've made a good account of themselves today.
Shay Evans going to come off Brooke Nunn. She's worked really hard, Brooke Nunn, but just hasn't got the end product. And her best chance coming hitting the crossbar in the first half.
Yep, she's been busy. She's been involved in a lot of the play for the Central Coast Mariners, but the story of the whole team, as we keep saying, you know, just that final product, just tidying things up, just making sure the quality is a lot better than it has been.
One down. Martin. Galich. These are the players that need to step up, find the answers. The goal is not going to be enough. They want to win this game. Pennick got ahead to it, and wide once again. Copus Brown sending it out. This is not surprising to Newcastle. They've faced the second most amount of shots before this game even started. They absorb a lot of pressure, unfortunately for them, throughout the season. They've conceded a lot of goals. This afternoon, they've been solid. Shay Evans turning away and then turning back into trouble. There's Wandau punished for not going down because she got hurt and then continued to stay up on her feet.
Yeah, there's a lot of coaches out there in international football, some of the top coaches in the world, who don't actually care how many you concede, as long as you're scoring more. Now, there's coaches who don't want to concede goals, who want to start from a really strong defensive structure. But there are coaches who, it doesn't matter as long as you're scoring. Unfortunately for Newcastle, they've been conceding and they haven't been scoring, which makes it very difficult for them to gain any ground during the season.
It worked last season. They had Melina Reyes, they had Serena Bolden, they scored a tremendous amount of goals, high-scoring fixtures. This season just hasn't been there the same. That's a beautiful pass to Rasmussen, cutting it across. Gomez is there, running straight into somebody, and then eventually the shot away from Tiana Fuller. Getting on the score sheet, not quite sure what happened there. Players down, ball in the back of the net. Right now, it looks like 1-1. And I'm going to Mariners play it down near the goal.
Shay Evans, lovely little ball here, turn, little reverse pass in. Rasmussen, great decision-making here. Cut that ball back across. Izzy Gomez clattered into Sophie Hoban, has stayed down. And then finally, the Mariners see the ball put in the back of the net, but Izzy Gomez still down on the ground in a fair bit of discomfort, holding a left knee.
And Mish, that is, how much is that goal going to really cost them? Because we talked at the very start of this game how important Izzy Gomez is. Hoping, you know, her well-being and her health is the most important thing. They got a goal back. Tiana Fuller, substitute, making an impact, but they really can't afford no Izzy Gomez heading into the finals.
Yeah, you're right. She's just such a crucial part of this team. That looks really awkward for that left knee. Sophie Hoban, desperation tackle. Just holding down still.
Yes.
She's getting up, which is great. Tiana Fuller came on, made an impact, finally got the ball into the back of the net for the Mariners.
Point blank range, even took a deflection on the way into the net. That's the 6th goal of the season for Tiana Fuller. She didn't really play early on. She's come on maybe like midway through the start and really pushed on. And we're going to see Tash Pryor come off. So the last we've seen of Tasha Pryor this season in the Ninja A-League competition, but what a season it's been for her. In the midst of it all, made a Matilda's debut, and she's been phenomenal in the back of the defence for Newcastle individually.
Yeah, she's been really crucial for this Newcastle defence, and they have missed her in the times where she hasn't been able to play. But wonderful to see another debutant for the Matildas as well.
Isabel Rowley coming on as well. Coming on to play the last few minutes as Devin Jackson takes a long-range effort. And substitute Rowley come on. And replacement of Tash Pryor making impact as well.
Stay high! Stay high!
Devin Jackson. And Izzy Gomez up on her feet, so that's a really good sign. She's going to come on really soon.
That's a big sigh of relief, I think, for Emily Husband, the rest of Central Coast Mariners players. Just such an instrumental, experienced, impactful player for this team. And it's similar to Tash Pryor. When Izzy has not been playing in the team, you've really noticed the difference.
Gomez, instant impact. Rasmussen, similar position as she was before, cutting it back. Gomez couldn't get a shot. Fuller this time. Can she get a second? Fades, and the whistle goes, and the flag is up.
Well, it was nearly a carbon copy of what happened. That ball coming out to this right-hand side with Rasmussen eventually being called offside. But there is space in these little pockets down that right-hand side.
Evans trying to get past one and couldn't really pull off the move that time. Great. And no one at the end of that pass.
Yeah, Izzy Gomez had made a lovely little run. She just wanted a little reverse pass. I mean, she's just come back on the pitch. She picked the ball up, again, drove into the space, came out to this right-hand side for Rasmussen to cut it back across goal. Thought it was going to be very similar to how they scored the first one, but the assistant referee determining that Rasmussen was offside in the first passage of play. Annabelle Martin, you could hear on the microphone there, she said, where are the ball kids? We can see it sometimes in international football. There's ball kids, and then the last 10 minutes of the game, when maybe there's a bit at stake, they just all kind of disappear and scatter away.
They're just eagerly watching the game.
Yeah, that's it.
Ray. Galich. And there's a space the ball found, but no Central Coast Mariners player occupying that space as well.
There's definitely gaps in this Newcastle defence for their continued.
Gomez turning away, strike, Zaniak. That wasn't as easy as it looked. It came really quickly at her and she got cleanly on it. But Pennick, can she finish? Yes, she can! Jade Pennick punishes Newcastle. They weren't able to clear away the danger fully. And Pennick gets the all-important second goal and takes the lead for the Central Coast Mariners.
Oh, finally, there was beautiful little play. Izzy Gomez, what a wonderful little turn here. Hit the ball. Krzyzeniak did everything well there. Had the ball at her feet, tried to play it quickly out of her hands, dropped it. Not sure what was going on there with Lauren Allen. Played it back, straight back into the path of Jade Pennick. And finally, Jade Pennick gets herself on the score sheet. But just calamitous moments for the Jets at the back.
It is a game that is a microcosm of both these teams' seasons. Central Coast Mariners eventually getting the reward after so many strikes on goal, but Newcastle, it's those defensive lapses that have cost them so early in the season that make them find their way at the bottom of the table. Not sure what Lauren Allen was doing there, trying to play it back to Krzyzeniak. And why did nobody maybe mention to her there was a player lurking so closely behind her?
Well, I think because she should have seen Jade Pennick as well, because she'd just seen the shot happen and then that ball came out. There was space in front of her to take a touch forward. I have no idea. Again, those decisions, those crucial decisions. She came back in and played the ball right into the path of Jade Pennick.
Those are the things they work in the off-season, trying to fix, trying to get themselves back into a finals campaign. They were in the semi-finals just last year, just as the Central Coast Mariners, but the Mariners will head back to the finals. Newcastle will head home and have to watch the finals. Hoban, fouled. We'll see another substitution. This time, Leah Puxty can come on. We'll see who she replaces. And it will be Annalise Rasmussen. Picked up her output at the latter part of this game. Now Puxty comes on, but they have the all-important lead. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, I think if this remains the same, there's still plenty of time in this game. There's been a couple of injuries, plus with the substitutions. Super important for the Mariners. Their game management, we talk about this so often at the elite level, how important your game management is, particularly when you've fought so hard to get yourself in front at such a late part of the game. I think Puxey's going to sit just in front of the Mariners' back line. Just not take any chances, not take any risks now. That's the crucial thing for the Mariners to see this game out and get the 3 points.
Wilson. Unable to get away that time, Lauren Allen. Rolly. Galich. Cleared but snuffed out by Dundas. Switching it into the middle, but headed away. They may get a second chance at it. Jackson teeing up from a long way out and curling away from the goal. It was India Breyer narrowly missing that far post.
These are those quick transition moments where the game can change so quickly. All the attack has been with the Central Coast Mariners, and within one movement, India Breyer gets a strike on that and everyone's hearts in their throats. Again, nothing, Newcastle, nothing to play for, but they desperately still either get the draw. They don't want to finish the season on another loss.
They certainly don't. Tiana Fuller scored the first for the Mariners. Cutting it and heeling over.
Emma Husband was just yelling out that, just tell Bianca to sit in. So Bianca Galich, just tell Bianca to sit in. Just hold her position in those central areas. Try and lock it up defensively for these last few minutes, plus the injury time. I think as a team, you don't mind if the opposition are going to go out and try and get around you. That's going to take more time, but don't allow them to break through the lines in those central areas. Really crucial for the Mariners in this last part of the game.
Shay Evans, closely shadowed. Be a goal kick.
Kevin, Chloe.
And we'll see Gia Vakari come on. Hasn't played too many games this season, just her 4th appearance. We'll also see Milan Hammond come on. Chloe Wallendow coming off. Cass Davis trying to switch it out. Hoban with the touch. Breyer, it's clever as well. Breyer wide once again.
She's looked lively since she's come on, India Breyer. Really trying to take those players on.
There's the goal scorer, Devin Jackson, who was taken off as well in that round of substitutions.
Yeah, important for, again, the Mariners just to keep their defensive structure. Leah Puxley there was kind of chasing along, chasing the ball back and forth. Crucial thing is not to get yourself dragged out of position, and then, you know, someone like an India Breyer, who has looked quite lively, hasn't she? She wants to stand players up, she wants to take them on, she wants to get a shot off, just to try and maintain and keep them in front of you rather than let them get in behind you and get a strike on goal.
That ball just took a slight touch off Cass Davis's hand on the way through. Minutes to close out Newcastle seasons and 6 minutes to hold on for the Central Coast Mariners to put all the pressure on Western United tomorrow. Right now they sit in 4th place on the live ladder. And they hold on and force the Western United to beat Wellington away from home.
Yeah, that's a tough game as well. Wellington, even with having their season pretty much finished.
As that ball's cut back across and then cleared by Jackson. Chance of handball, waved away. Evans overran the ball slightly and then getting shoved. Here's a pushing contest. Teammates having to calm him down. Annabelle Martin calming down Shay Evans.
Yeah, she did well there. Annabelle Martin just holding Shay Evans back, just letting the heat dissipate out of the situation. There's a Gomez again, just wonderful position. Ooh, a little tug of the jersey in the box there. Don't think Mariners will be any rush, but as I say, Western United away to Wellington, it's a difficult place to go. It's always windy. It's almost like a wind tunnel there. Challenging conditions. However, Wellington, nothing else to play for. Huge match for Western United.
Ray, high, deep delivery, and it got a run at it. Brought down by Hoban, only as far as Taylor Ray. Evans. Nash. A turn away from Galich. Gomez feints, cutting it the opposite direction. And maybe the option was really Panic, who was a little bit closer. Puxty. Fuller. Gomez. Back out to Evans.
Well there, she wasn't in any hurry, she was isolated. Had Annabelle Martin just popping in to try and support her underneath the ball. She did well just to win herself Mariners a throw in. We'll probably continue seeing a bit of this, try and time waste, get that ball into the corner.
Time is the Mariners' friend. And that pass is not their friend.
Yeah, you don't mind that though. I mean, a throw in down in this corner. It's tough. There's 4 players already in there. Izzy Gomez, Shay Evans, Annabelle Martin locked in. It's tough for the Jets to get out.
Three minutes left.
I was going to say, and more importantly, it's just soaking up time. Soaking up time down this right-hand side. Which Emily Husband, she's doing a little check the watches. Making sure that the referees, assistant referees, everyone is keeping an eye on the clock as it ticks down.
And can be a throw in this time. What's that feeling like, Ish, for the Jets players, knowing your season's coming to an end? Some of them will play NPL, some of them will take some time off, but these last few moments, what do they feel like?
Probably a bit of frustration and disappointment, I think. Coming, second last on the table. Not really where you want to be. I think the manner in which you're conceding goals and losing games is tough.
Out to Tiana Fuller. Can she get a second? Very close, but not able to that time.
And just continue on with the chat, read the Jets, you know, but it's the end of the season. So it's time to regroup, have a look what players are going to be retained. A bit of time in the off-season, get back to playing in the NPL, continue on with your development at that level. And then hopefully, you know, we will see a lot of these youngsters, the main group of the team, back for next season.
India Breyer, unselfish, playing it out to Copus Brown. And wide. That effort, and there's that frustration.
Plenty of space in behind. This was a wonderful ball. Really been impressed with India Breyer since she's come on. Copus Brown trying to hit it back across goal. But missing the target completely.
Langman sending it long. As the time ticks on for the Central Coast Mariners, they've done all they needed to do, all they could do. There's going to be a corner. Could we see some late drama? Breyer had some moments since coming on. Can she have another moment? Can she find the head of a teammate? High curling ball far out. Cleared, but not as far as they would have liked, the Mariners. Izzy Gomez dancing with the ball, strike on goal and safely into the hands of Sarah Langman. And that's exactly where M. Husband wants the ball to find. A sense of relief. The Mariners have done all they can. They got the win, they've got the 3 points. They currently sit fourth. They will have to wait and patiently see what happens with Western United tomorrow. Central Coast Mariners getting the win, but for the Newcastle Jets, their season ends here. Unable to make the finals like they did last year. A disappointing and frustrating campaign at times. For a chance to regroup in the off-season. We'll see what the Jets do, which players come back, but if it's last time we've seen some of these players, it's been fantastic to have them in the competition.
Yep, absolutely. Frustrating season, as you said, Picua.
It ends Newcastle Jets 1, Central Coast Mariners 2. What a game. A lot of highlights in the first half. Mariners had moments, but they had to wait a long time for their first goal.
They did. I think Mariners' possession was pretty equal in the first half. This was a nice little short corner, 1-2 from the Mariners between Taylor Ray and Peter Trimmis. Nice shot off the crossbar. I mean, this opportunity, how the ball didn't go into the back of the net, I'm still trying to work it out. Brooke Nunn, the ball pops out. Thought it was going to dip in, hit the crossbar. It came back across, went to the far post.